Hey everybody, it's Dr. Rick here dropping in on you. Leaving the office this morning, headed to go spend some time with baby. Dump little big head off my grandson. He's trying to hustle up in on it. But I want to talk to you about something that obviously by now, if you follow me, you know I'm passionate about, and it's become a point of intense focus, and there is a reason for it. By now, you know we are doing a fundraiser for Black Men Lead, our program, which serves primarily as a rite of passage program, but also as a point of wraparound services for all young Black males, primarily up to the age of 30, but definitely beyond that. And so if you believe in the work we're doing, if you followed me for the last 12, 13, 14 years here on YouTube, or you followed my work previously to that in books and in publications, if you're aware of the work I do, or if you want to click the link and go to the Odyssey Project and see the work I do, or if you want to Google Dr. Rick Wallace and see the work I've done and am doing, do that. But we're asking you to support the work we're doing because we are at a point of crisis. And the problem is, the first point of the crisis is we don't respond to crises until they become crises. We don't look at situations that are evolving, or in this case, devolving into something worse, and say, okay, we need to start to take preventative action. We have a tendency to sit up and want to, oh my God, it and shake my head it to death. We literally behave as if, intellectually, I'm not accusing anybody of being stupid. Intellectually, we know that saying, oh my God, doesn't do anything. But we've literally been programmed and conditioned into reacting and responding to something with how we feel about it, or some indication that it shakes us, but with no compulsion to take action. The very point of most of our emotions are to prompt action. Anger is an emotion that's normally triggered when you've been wronged in some way, and it prompts you to take action. Now, the emotion itself shouldn't be what triggers the action, because when you act out of anger, you don't use rationale and reason or strategy. You simply react, and normally it doesn't turn out well. Same thing with sadness. Sadness is a point of loss. It is something that's gone wrong that you aren't happy about, and it's there to trigger a compulsion to respond to the loss in a way that moves you in the right direction. And you can go with all other situations. They are even negative emotions. Envy. Actually, when you really truly develop the right capacity to respond to your emotions, envy starts to turn into something that compels you to be more focused on becoming better than you are at being envious. In other words, if I envy something someone has or something someone's experiencing, then I put myself in a better position in life to experience the same thing. It can move you in the right direction when you understand how to respond to it. But if you only have envy, envy becomes a cancer. And if you only have, oh my God, and shaking my head when you see Black boys killing each other, when you see Black men killing their significant others, when you see Black boys dropping out of high school and headed towards prison, and your response is simply, oh my God, or shaking my head, it has become a cancer, and it is literally destroying the internal fiber of our communities, and we aren't doing anything about it because we're not meeting it at the source. We're not meeting it at the core. I've been talking about this for years. Black Men Lead is the flagship program of the Odyssey Project, but it's not the only project. But I've been talking about this thing for literally over a decade here on this particular platform, and for more than 20 years altogether. And the thing is, there is a means at which you deal with the source. Saying shaking my head or oh my God, or responding to posts when you see horrible things that are a part of the reality of our community, shaking my head doesn't change it. Oh my God doesn't change it. And if you don't know the answer, you need to seek those who know the answer, or you need to seek out the answer for yourself. That's how it started with me 30 years ago. I wasn't happy with where our people were. I wasn't happy with the things that I looked at in front of me and realized that I'm going to have to be 3 times better than the average right man. I'm going to go out and do that. But I don't necessarily know if I want that for my son or my grandson. So what can I do to change it? I don't like the fact that most of us aspire to something more Eurocentric than we do Afrocentric, because we've been told that the white man's ice is colder. So what am I going to do about that? What are the core elements and components and causes that have us at a place where we see them as being superior, even if we don't want to admit it? But the very idea that we're striving to look like them, behave like them, live like them, do what they do, instead of living and basking in the glory of who we are naturally and holistically, there's a problem with that. There's a reason why we're just coming to a point to where we celebrate the beauty and the natural beauty of our unbelievably gorgeous women, and the depth of the power and the force of our unbelievably yet damaged strong men. Now, granted, a part of that is the fact that we are damaged, and I have written extensively and lectured extensively and offered solutions to the fact that we are suffering from multi-generational trauma. We are suffering from the passing down of trauma, both experientially and genetically. I have written on it, I have lectured on it, I have created solutions, and it's overcomable, but it's not going to be through a magic wand. It's not going to be through some type of seance. It's going to be through a practice of healing, and we're not healing. And the problem is, not only are we not healing, because we're not healed, we are creating environments that's not conducive for the next generation to come out and be effective and be holistic and healed. We're literally creating a cycle of trauma that's being perpetuated from generation to generation, and it's inhibiting our ability to establish ourselves in a power structure that allows us to be felt. And until we can make our presence felt, we will never, ever truly experience power. Power is not surrendered. It's taken. It's consumed. It's taken. It's owned. You have to go out and establish how you're moving and what you're doing. You have to have a sense of self. Begging for power never, 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 ever will get you power. And we're looking at so many things that are a direct source of what we're seeing with young black males, and we're simply not acting on it. We are still trying to, oh my God, something into existence, and that's not going to happen. It's going to require people to sit up and say, well, you know what? I'm an expert at this, so I'm gonna get into this. I'm an expert at this, so I'm gonna get into this. I'm gonna go over here and connect with this person because I know how I can make what they're doing better. I'm gonna connect with this person because I can help them take what they're doing over the edge. I don't have a way that I can see right now that I'm going to contribute financially. I can lend myself to it financially. I'm going to contribute to this organization. I'm going to contribute to this program. I'm going to be a force behind this. Some of the people who are the greatest champions of past movements were the people who silently, at least we thought silently, we come to find out that a lot of their suspicious deaths was because they were actually financing movements. People like Sam Cooke and Jimi Hendrix, just to name a few. But those people made sure things that we look at now and celebrate about other groups possible. We have to be more than a people who are consumed with the superficial. We see what's on the surface, and we, in most places, emote and react to it, but we very rarely are at a place where we are effectively responding to it. And it shows in the constant devolvement of our place on the socioeconomic ladder. There's a reason we're in last place. It's not because we are inherently stupid. It's not because we are inherently lazy. It's not because we are inherently violent and thereby most of our people ending up in prison. It is because we have yet to learn how things work. We have yet to come together in a unified manner to leverage what we have as a collective. We tend to operate on an individualized mindset, especially the more fluent and quote unquote successful we become. The more successful we become, the more we want to distance ourselves from ourselves with the hopes of being more accepted in a society that has consistently rejected us. The goal should never be acceptance. The goal should always be a position of power so that we are respected within the social structure. I'll take respect over acceptance any day of the week. And if I can't have respect, I prefer fear over acceptance. If you don't respect me, understand that if you violate me, I will violate you in return with everything and every ounce I have. That's a part of being able to defend yourself and sending a message that we will not tolerate until those outside of ourselves know that we won't tolerate certain behavior. We will continue and consistently have to deal with it. Consequence is what stops undesirable behavior. Not morality, not a good heart, consequence. Most people do and remain in their particular place because of their fear of consequences, not because of their good heart. We love to get the idea. A matter of fact, just on a spiritual level, black people are probably the most moral people, in the sense that we really sense when something's not right and we're doing something wrong. Doesn't mean we don't do it. We're just, in our hearts, we know we shouldn't be doing it. And it bothers us. And it bothers us when we see other people do it. There are people that aren't like that. Generally speaking, they are not on the same wavelength we're on. And we keep thinking that we can appeal to that in them because it can be appealed to us. No. And unfortunately, we're getting to a point where our kids are getting like that. They don't value the life. You don't walk up and blow somebody's brains out if you value the life, especially over some of the petty things for which these kids are killing each other. They're not killing people who are breaking in their home and threatening their home, or somebody who harmed their sister. You know, those are things you look at and say, okay, you violated that man's sister and you just got. You know, you got to defend your family. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, you bother mine, it's going to be a problem. But the thing is, I'm here and not locked up for life because I established that so early on that people who knew me knew. And it was established, man, if you want to sit up and do this, you better be willing to deal with this. And most people aren't. And so that's how, but what I'm saying is that's not why these kids are killing. These kids are killing each other for stuff that makes absolutely no sense. He said something to me, the way he looked at me, he over there on this here. They fighting over blocks they don't even own. All kind of crazy stuff that we need to actually be aware of how, and the thing is, I've told you over and over again, all of this is because they haven't been properly socialized. That's what black men lead is, a rite of passage. You socialize young males into manhood. You socialize them, you put them in the right mindset, the right perspective. You teach them what they're supposed to be doing, who they're supposed to be looking at. They are modeling, they're observing the modeling of manhood. They're observing the modeling of manhood, and they're acting. We've got to have men modeling it. We've got to have a structured edifice of what's expected. They need to know who they are and what's going to be expected of them. They need to know the value that they have in the community. They don't feel valued. They don't see value in themselves. That's why they can't see value in the people that they're killing. They can't see how much they're giving up when they kill someone and then they have their freedom taken away for extremely long period of time. They can't see how much is lost in the community because no one's taught them their value. And there's so much work that I've done. There's so much work that I was able to glean from. And then there was so much work that I was able to do on my own to come up with this. This isn't some, man, well, let's just do this with the kids. No, there's a way to structure the mind and the upbringing of a child to increase the ability to influence effectively what that child will do and how that child will do it long into adulthood. We've lost that. We have our phones rearing our children. We have a school system with predominantly white middle-aged women rearing our children. No cultural awareness of what's going on with those kids in their community, in their home, how they think, how they move, what moves them, what does respect mean to them versus what does it mean. They have no clue. And these are the people that we're allowing to influence the minds of our children. That's why so many of them feel alienated. There's so much work to do, and we're sitting around and oh my Godding it. And it just blows my mind. You get a whole bunch of oh my gods. And I collect data daily on these events. I know the responses. I collect data. I have a number of different ways that I am collecting data. I see the responses. I see the magnitude of the behavior versus the response, and it's ridiculous. Our sons are killing our daughters, and we're oh my God, and that's horrible. These men are just terrible. They didn't just wake up. They weren't born with the idea or the notion that I'm going to go out here and I'm going to kill. I'm going to go out here and kill my girlfriend. They don't wake up with the notion that I'm going to go out here and do whatever it is that they're doing. They don't wake up with that notion. That's a notion that they sit up and develop through a process that they're going through. And it's up to us to be able to sit up and do something about it. And the thing is, there are some things that we can do about it. There are some things that we can do to change the situation, but it's not going to be saying, oh my God. That's not going to get it. That is not how it's going to happen. So in essence, what am I trying to get you to understand? We're going to have to actually be actively involved. We can't handle this and deal with this from the sideline. That's not where it's going to happen. So I'm calling on the people who really want to see a difference, the people who are talking about Black empowerment. It doesn't come from just talking about group economics. It doesn't just come from talking about politics and voting. It comes from preparing a generation to be successful, preparing a generation to be united. You can't express power from a divided position. And right now we're divided, and we have an entire demographic within our own space that needs direction. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Again, if you believe in what we're doing, if you want to see a difference made, and it's there's a place right now in a need. Trust me, I'm on the phone consistently with people in different cities. There's a need for a network in which this program is implemented and connected, so no one's standing alone, no one is ostracized or sitting by themselves, and there's a connected network where people are growing together, feeding together, sharing, exchange information together, and putting it together so that we literally have a universal program that all young Black males in the U.S. will come up into and grow into. And that's why you have Jews with their rite of passage, Latinos with their rite of passage, Arabs with their rite of passage, Asians with their rite of passage. We have none. We're just sitting up saying, hey, go for it, figure it out. If it works, it works. Sometimes it works. You get a real successful person, and then you get the masses that it's not working with, because that's not how you do it. You don't leave kids to figure it out. You give them specific direction. You set them on course, and you give them everything they need to understand who they are, so they take pride in being that and then executing what they should be. That's what we have to do. That's what we need to do. you can help us do that. On that note, I'm out of here.